Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06 now as we chug along this Thursday morning. If you missed our first 2 hours of today's broadcast, that's right, we start at 5 a.m. here. And if you missed any of it, please download and subscribe to the podcast. And can I just be real for a second here? Even if you don't listen to the podcast every day, all of our interviews that we break out, all of the various segments that are broken out for you, just subscribe to it anyway, because it helps out the show. We do this for you for free every day. Wait, let me be clear. I'm not here for free. The content is delivered to you at no cost to you, is what I mean to say. So if a lot of people say, oh, we love the show, we love WMAL, we want to help. You know how you can help, and it won't cost you a thing. Just subscribe to the podcast. How great is that? Thanks for doing that. Coming up later in the program at 7:35, Senator Roger Marshall from Kansas. At 8:05, Link Lauren, now working for the Kennedy campaign. And at 8:35, Susan Weisbauer, author of Homeschool Bible. Well, that's not true. The Homeschool Bible is, in fact, the Bible. But it's a secondary resource for homeschool parents is a book called The Well-Trained Mind. She's got a brand new edition of that, and she'll be joining us to discuss it at 8:35. All right, joining us now. And it's Larry O'Connor alongside Mercedes Schlapp. I think I already mentioned that. Joining us right now is Scott Parkinson. Scott is running for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate in the Commonwealth of Virginia. He would like to square off against Senator Tim Kaine this November. ScottParkinson.com is the website. Scott, thanks for joining us.
It's great to be back on, Larry. Thanks for having me.
So you are with the Club for Growth. You're the former chief of staff of Ron DeSantis. You're the former executive director for the Republican Study Committee. It's a hell of a resume to be able to deliver to the people of Virginia a plan to actually bring some leadership back into that office. Because honestly, between Kaine and Warner, Virginians have a lamentable representation in the senior body there in the legislative branch.
That's right. I also actually worked for 3 United States senators before that, too. So on day one of my election, I think I'm ready to get to work for the people of Virginia and making a difference when it comes to the cost of living, when it comes to attacking the illegal immigration invasion on the southern border, and when it comes to standing up for parents' rights.
You know, I always like to talk about issues and policies, but one of the major issues for me as a Republican voter is who can beat Tim Kaine. Because every 6 years, I feel like we got a good shot, and somehow he comes away with a victory. So I want to address that first. What is your strategy to raise the kind of money it takes and to cut through all the noise here in the D.C. area to beat Tim Kaine?
Yeah, I've raised almost $1 million already in my campaign. We've been working really hard. I think in order to reach the voters with a full direct voter contact strategy, you've got to be a well-funded candidate. And the difference between this race and previous races against Tim Kaine is we're not going to have a convention for the nomination. It's a full statewide primary on June 18th, and it's an open primary in Virginia as well. That means you can reach some of the soft Democrats. It means you can reach independent voters that are registered to vote, and obviously statewide Republicans. We know the turnout will still be low, but you're going to see a higher turnout, I think, than you would in a convention. And that will pay dividends as we continue to take our case to Virginians all throughout the Commonwealth leading up to November 5th.
Again, the website is ScottParkinson.com, ScottParkinson.com. He wants your vote for the Republican nomination in the primary that's coming up. Scott, what would your priorities be for the people of Virginia? Where will you make up for, again, what I believe is an incredible lack of representation and leadership from Tim Kaine right now?
Yeah, well, I think on day one, you need to understand the scenario that we're going to be facing. And we're going to have a Republican president, Donald Trump, inaugurated in January 2025. And when that happens, you've got executive branch and judicial nominations that are going to dominate the Senate schedule. We know that the debt limit also expires in January of 2025. So there's going to be a big budget negotiation. And then at the end of 2025, the Trump tax cuts expire. If we do nothing, it's the greatest tax increase in our nation's history of over $3 trillion. And so there are going to be a lot of different things that every senator is working on that's out of their control. But we absolutely need to confront this illegal immigration invasion on the southern border. It is the number one issue as I travel all throughout the state and talk to Virginians on what's on their mind. They are terrified. It's a public safety concern, sex trafficking, fentanyl, and obviously violent crime. In Campbell County, which is near Lynchburg, Virginia, we had a really high-profile sexual assault, including a 32-year-old illegal alien from Venezuela on a 14-year-old female. I'm a dad of 4 kids, including 3 girls. That's totally unacceptable, and we need somebody that's going to stand up and fight for the people. Joe Biden and Tim Kaine are accommodating this illegal alien invasion with their open border policies. And, he even voted against the Laken Riley Act, which would have required ICE detainers for these violent criminals.
Tim Kaine was asked about the border earlier this month, and his response was stunning, actually.
When they hear immigration, I think a lot of people, the first thing they think of is the border. The first thing we should think of is workforce.
Workforce. See, he sees what's going on at the border as just a way to get cheap labor here into this country. I want to ask you, though, because you're affiliated with Club for Growth. Club for Growth sometimes also gets sort of the reputation that they're really not strong on the border. They don't take a real strong position on the border because they're just interested in economic growth, and cheap labor helps that. How do you respond to that?
Well, Club for Growth has always been in favor and standing in the rule of law. And what's happening right now is a lawlessness on the southern border. I think that the Club for Growth has been actually behind the scenes helping some of the lawmakers in the House and the Senate when it came to the big immigration proposal that Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden and some of the rhinos tried to put forward. We opposed that. We talked to members very much about the economic consequences of a legal workforce versus an illegal workforce. And so I think that obviously the organization has stayed neutral in some of these other policy areas that are a little bit out of their bandwidth, but it doesn't mean we don't have a position, that we don't talk to members.
ScottParkinson.com, again, is the website, and he's looking to win the Republican nomination for Senate. It's great that you led with immigration, that's one of your top priorities. Also, military. Funding for the military and veterans' concerns are a major issue to Virginia voters. How is that on your radar? And because you're running against some people for the nomination who are military veterans and have a military background.
Yeah, well, not everybody likes to hear this, but I oppose the foreign aid package. I oppose additional supplemental spending in Ukraine. I think that we need to have an America First foreign policy and national security that actually invests in our own naval fleet. I would rather have $100 billion spent on new aircraft carriers than sending that money over to Ukraine. And obviously, we've got a large presence when it comes to defense contractors throughout the entire state of Virginia, not just in Nova, but down in Hampton Roads. I think you can address that by having smart investments. But the biggest threat to our national security is the national debt, because right now the net interest payments exceed the entire Pentagon budget. And when you think about how much money they wanted to send to Ukraine, that exceeds how much we spend on our entire Marine Corps. Yeah. We need to invest in American national security that accommodates our own national security interests.
Well, that also certainly distinguishes you from Tim Kaine, and I think we're going to have a clear choice this November, certainly between Kaine and whoever ends up being the nominee. And if you want more information about Scott Parkinson, go to scottparkinson.com. Sir, great talking with you. Thanks for joining us, and it's good to know where you stand on these issues. Hopefully we'll have another conversation before the primary.
We'll see you in Loudoun on April 24th as well.
That's right. We got a debate coming. Are we officially calling it a debate or a candidate forum? I never want to rebrand it or anything. But yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Let's just call it a debate, and let's have some fun.
It is. It's going to be a blast, and I'm looking forward to moderating all of the Republican candidates there. Thanks, Scott. Great talking with you.
You're welcome.
It is 7:15 now. WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the 5s, Jamie Witten's on the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On the next Vince Coglianese Show, will this election's integrity be protected? We talked to the new RNC chairman about that very thing. Join us 3 to 6 right here on WMAL.
Mercedes, we talk quite a bit about issues that sadly are divisive in our nation, having to do with politics, economy, the border, immigration, crime, national security, all that stuff. But we also talk about some of the more micro issues that divide us, not as a nation, but as a family.
This is serious. This is so serious.
In fact, the Wall Street Journal calls it quite possibly one of the most divisive kitchen appliances I'm, of course, talking about the dishwasher, and most specifically, how to load it and how not to load it. And after doing my own personal examination and study of this, it seems in general that the man of the house knows how to properly load the dishwasher.
Really?
And the women
of the house.
Are
you being sexist on the terms of loading a dishwasher?
I'm not saying
Seriously?
that it's inherent. I'm just saying that it seems to be the case that the women of the house do not know. I've done this from my own personal research. And
oh boy.
Do you have this situation? Are you?
Can I tell you? Why don't you just be honest? During show prep, you talk about I think Heather brought up the dishwasher, and
it's from the Wall Street Journal today. Wall Street Journal has an article about this.
I'm like, what is it with you men and dishwashers? Matt has like 100 rules when it comes to like how you load the dishwasher, and we can never the girls, the women in the household. Okay, we can never meet his expectations. It's so infuriating. So I think you're experiencing something similar in your home.
It is very much
correct?
the case in my home, and the solution. So now I have patiently and lovingly instructed all of the women in my life, by the way, and it's not just my amazing, tolerant wife Meredith, but my daughters as well. My son has figured it out. My son knows the right way to load a dishwasher. I do think this is an XY chromosome situation here that we're dealing with. And I have patiently tried to explain the proper way to load the dishwasher, and we have finally come up with a solution. It's not a solution of my making, but it seems to be working out, which is the dishes just stack up on the counter until I load the dishwasher.
I think it's a brilliant move by the women.
Decided,
they should let the men.
Screw it. I'm not going to touch it.
Exactly. Well, this article that came out because I think they did some sort of poll. A majority of Americans agree there's a, quote, right and wrong way to load a dishwasher.
That is correct.
I can't believe we have a freaking poll on this. But there's one piece that I love. It's this couple, Brian Louie and Aaron Bailey.
Uh-huh.
They're in this, they moved from California to New York. And then Brian says, I have always been a control freak in the kitchen. I have my way of doing it right. So sometimes I can be a kitchen general. So that's what you are.
No,
Larry, you are a kitchen general, and you're basically imposing your authoritarian techniques to how we have to load the dishwasher. This is just, I can't believe it. I'm going to hold a protest. A dishwasher protest.
This shouldn't be controversial. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things.
Oh, come on.
If you load it properly, and by the way, the Wall Street Journal put out the right diagram. There is a central location in the bottom rack where most of the water and power from the dishwasher. Use the dishwasher the way it's been designed to be used. And you know what drives me nuts? On the upper rack. On the upper rack where the cups and glasses go, okay?
Oh, gosh.
You know how there are columns, there are little troughs where the cups and glasses go, and those troughs are separated by vertical little stems, right? Little sticky-uppy things. Stalagmites, let's call them. Those things are designed to create the column, the little trough where the cups and glasses go. You're not supposed to put the glass on the thing that's sticking up because that negates the whole point. It reduces the volume of cups and glasses by 50%. And yet she just won't listen, Mercedes. She just won't listen to me. I'm sorry. I got a little.
Are you done now?
Yes, because I can't yell at her
you
at
really
home,
put
so I got to
like
do
a percentage to this. No, but look, I'm looking at this graphic. It says how to stack your dishwasher according to science.
That's right. So respect the science.
Yeah, so it says no pre-rinse is necessary. Make sure to have no plates touching. So that's a big thing for Matt Schlapp. He's like, don't let the plates touch.
That's true.
Heavily stained items at the bottom. Okay, that makes sense.
Bottom and center, yes.
Avoid placing very dirty crockery in the corners. Okay, I don't know why.
Because there's not as much water flow there.
It's like you kind of designed a dishwasher.
It's right there in front of you when you open the dishwasher. You see the thing that rotates on the bottom. That's where the water comes out. You think the whole thing gets the same amount of water and pressure? It's just
logic. I just want my dishes to be cleaned, and I have so much going on with work and children and everything.
Here we go.
I don't want to have to worry about how to stack a dishwasher.
So
I think this is insane.
So you
There's
agree that there
rules.
is a right way and a wrong way. You just don't care to do it the
No,
right
no,
way.
I
That's
try.
what I'm hearing.
I try. No, I
have a busy
try,
life,
but
so.
it's never good enough. And I think Meredith agrees with me. It is never good enough. You and Matt continue to impose these ridiculous rules on the dishwasher, and we can never be perfect. And you guys just have to love us for who we are. And
Well,
I've had it.
We
Anyways, I feel much better now.
We do, Mercedes. I believe that the fact that we're still around tells you that we will, despite your flaws.
Look at this. There was a poll. Wait a second. Average American households have 18 arguments a month over dishes. Oh, God. This is a problem.
There is a Facebook group called Extreme Dishwasher Loading.
Oh my!
It has 31,000 members.
Yeah.
Something
You
we
and
all
Schlapp,
have in common.
you guys are members of it, or if not, we're signing you up.
I
I've
would
had
love
it.
to hear. Reach out to us on our social media, either X or on WMAL, and you tell me. I want to know the household where the woman actually does it right and the man doesn't, because I've never seen that house. It doesn't exist. It's 7:23.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Just doesn't listen.
Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
7:36. It's O'Connor and Company here on this Thursday morning in your nation's capital. We like to call this America's Morning Show. People listening all across the Fruited Plain and worldwide. Coming up at 8:05, Link Lauren, who has now joined the Kennedy campaign. He's a social media influencer. We'll talk to him about what's going on there with RFK Jr. And at 8:35, Susan Wise-Bauer, author of The Well-Trained Mind, kind of a go-to book for homeschooling parents. There's a new edition out. We'll talk to her about that. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside. Look at that. It's Mercedes Schlapp. I know you. You're famous.
Oh, I know you. You're famous.
Not as famous as you. I'm no
You also
Schlapp.
know how to put dishes in a dishwasher. You're making progress here.
Joining us now from the great state of Kansas. Speaking of the Fruited Plain, it's Senator Roger Marshall. Now, he's on the Homeland Security Committee and outspoken critic of Alejandro Mayorkas. So, Senator Marshall, I'm sure you watched with great interest Alejandro Mayorkas' testimony yesterday, where for the first time in 38 months, under oath, he actually said, yeah, the border's in crisis.
Well, Larry, Mercedes, good morning to you and all your listeners. Look, he said what we've all known. Every state feels like a border state now. In Kansas, we're losing a young adult every day to fentanyl poisoning. We're having to use Narcan 10 or 20 times a day. Our highways now are full of the cartel, along with the Chinese triad. The triad is smuggling humans, the cartel smuggling the fentanyl and other drugs. Along with that, we're seeing crime. It'll take years to recover from this. Even if we could shut the border down tomorrow, it'll take 5 or 10 years. One last point. We did a roundtable in Wichita with crime folks, people that are interested in trying to decrease crime, and the officer said we cannot arrest ourselves out of this. There are so many problems that we could triple the police force and it wouldn't solve the problem. So it's hit the heartland, as you said, the plains.
Yeah, now, I think you all are looking at moving forward with, or basically Speaker Mike Johnson, they told you all, we're going to delay these transitions of the 2 articles of impeachments against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. And the Senate was requesting this. Why is that the case?
Well, Mercedes, you know that we can smell jet fumes here. I'm sure you can smell them from your office, but on Thursday afternoons we can smell jet fumes, and people get antsy and want to go home. So what the plan was Senator Schumer was going to start this trial this afternoon, like at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You know how 1 o'clock turns into 3 o'clock. And that wouldn't allow us to have the time to try to prosecute this case, because he's planning on tabling it. That's his plan, is he does not want to go forward with any type of impeachment process. This is such a toxic subject for him that he does not want to have John Tester take a tough vote on this, Sherrod Brown, all those folks that are up in purple states. And that's why it's important that over this weekend that folks like me go back home and make sure that we're trying to hold those senators accountable. It would only take 2 Democrat senators to force this impeachment trial. Only 2. We're trying to find them.
By the way, not only should he be impeached for various and sundry reasons, but also the lies that we continue to have with regard to sanctuary city policies, where right now, you talk about the crime and mayhem and murders that are taking place, where a criminal illegal alien who was already in this country illegally is arrested for those crimes, and then you've got cities who aren't cooperating with ICE to get those people deported. They have no right to be here after they break the law further. Joe Biden in 2007, when he was running for president, said he would not allow sanctuary cities. Then when he was running in 2020, he defended sanctuary cities. And now you got Mayorkas saying, hey, these sanctuary cities, they should really be cooperating with us and ICE. I mean, they're lying. They're just lying, Senator Marshall, and they're only lying because they're trying to save their butts now.
Yeah, they've bitten off more than they can chew. But the example you described is exactly what cost Laken Riley her life. Yeah. Is a criminal that was arrested in New York, or warrant out for his arrest in Atlanta. The officers there did not cooperate with ICE. They didn't detain the person, and that's what a sanctuary city is. They are all about catch and release. So these sanctuary cities, people are leaving these sanctuary cities. It's amazing to watch a Chicago mayor say, oh, my gosh, maybe this is more than we wanted. Mm-hmm. But by the way, I want more money. Let's send more money for the federal government. Yeah. If only we had more money, that would solve all of our problems. That sounds like, a 15-year-old. Mm-hmm. And they're running a city. So here we are.
President Biden, in his recent interview with Univision, said that he's examining these potential executive actions on securing the border. I mean, what's your sense? What are you getting from the Biden administration? Is it just this stress that they have that they can't, they want to appease the liberal base by allowing for the open borders, but at the same time recognize that really we're putting our national security at risk?
I think this is too little too late. So maybe someone finally showed Joe Biden a poll. What was the Jim Carrey movie where he lived in a little bubble? The Truman Show. Yeah. So they kept Biden in this Truman Show bubble for these years. Maybe someone showed him that this doesn't poll well. And by the way, crime is on the uptick. But look, this is too little too late. I think that this cake is baked. And this is going to be the number one issue going forward to the November election. This is why Donald Trump is going to win. This is why we're going to get the Senate majority back. Hopefully we'll get the House, keep the House majority. I think that they have an uphill battle there. But with this being the defining issue, I think we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and I think your instincts are right that you need to keep pushing this issue so that you can get these Democrat senators like Tim Kaine in Virginia and other Democrat senators, get them on the record with a vote. You might not have the votes to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas, but every single voter in a state where their Democrat senator is up for re-election should know definitively where they stand on this. Do they defend Mayorkas and Biden on their stellar handling of the border? Make sure that vote is pressed so that every voter knows exactly where these Democrats stand. Senator Marshall, thank you for joining us today.
If you all get a chance, talk about the precedent this is setting as well. You have some inside baseball listeners on your show. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine going forward what this would look like? This will be the last. If Democrats table this will be the last time that we'll ever see an impeachment trial. If the Senate is the same party as the president, this will come back and bite them.
Amen.
Just like the nuclear option did back in 2013.
So, on judicial nominations, absolutely. If they just table this and don't actually take it up, then impeachment is rendered meaningless in the Constitution. 100%, sir. Thank you, Senator Marshall.
You bet. Thanks, everybody.
It is 7:44 now. Mercedes Schlapp, I am proud of the stellar reputation that this program has. It bears my name. And I think that when people think of O'Connor and Company and waking up in the morning with news, information, and entertainment here in Washington, D.C., they think class. They think,
classy.
Taking the high road, taking, just not getting. That said, yesterday at the White House, there was a dinner party with lots of celebrities. It was for the Japanese Prime Minister.
Right,
it was a big deal.
Dinner.
State dinner. Mm-hmm. You've been to these before, I'm sure, right? Yeah, maybe now and again.
I don't know. Yes, I have.
But yeah, I'm sure that, what you wear to such an occasion. For men, it's easy. You wear a tuxedo. It's done, right? But women, what do you wear? You're going to be seen, especially if you're the wife of Jeff Bezos, one of the richest, most powerful men in this town.
It's not the wife, honey. It's the girlfriend. It's the girlfriend.
Oh, are they not married? Oh, you're right.
I think she's got the big rock, but they're not married.
Well, she's got big rocks, all right.
Oh, Larry, I knew you were going to say that.
Well, look at this. She's wearing a corset and it's pushing everything out. There's nothing left to the imagination.
There is nothing left.
That is Jeff's. Those are gazongas right there, is what those are. I'm sorry. There's cleavage, and then there's just putting them all out there for the world to see.
Mountains.
This is tacky, isn't it? This is
the dress is pretty horrific. It is.
It's a corset, right?
It's like a corset, but it's like very lacy and. Just when you say not age appropriate, like not age appropriate in any sort of way.
No, I don't know what occasion this would be appropriate for.
She's going to pop out of that dress in like about a second. Like it just does not work.
I guess when you're showing off to the Prime Minister of Japan and you're sort of displaying all of the wonders that America has to offer, this sort of goes with the territory.
The wonders are Bezos's billions of dollars. Those are the wonders.
Do you think do you think these have been bought and paid for?
Oh, honey, of course.
You don't think those are?
About?
We're speaking, by the way, of Lauren Sanchez. It's Lauren Sanchez is her name. She's a girl.
I think there was surgery involved in that. Yeah. Just saying.
Meanwhile, Bill Clinton arrived with Hillary Clinton, and she was not dressed nearly this. She's wearing a kimono. She's literally. This is cultural appropriation, by the way, or is it a muumuu?
What do they
is
call
it? A caftan? I guess it's a caftan.
Apparently, look. I think for Hillary, it's better to hide more flesh than to show more flesh.
Well,
so I don't know. I'm not totally against this look for her.
It's
better than the pantsuit.
There is a shot of
She
Bill.
does look like she rolled out of bed.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. It's like, are you gonna get dressed? I am dressed, Bill.
I am dressed. I'm gonna wear the house coat.
There's a picture of Bill at the state dinner, and he's got a very smug and satisfied look on his face, and his eyes. I think he's looking at Lauren Sanchez's
Look, I'm sure
cleavage.
when they were planning that at White House state dinner, they're like, keep Bill Clinton away from Jeff Bezos's girlfriend.
I just can't.
And the interns, keep them away from the interns.
Yeah, we try to take the high road here.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a great job of taking the high road.
This is honestly the tackiest thing I've seen at a state dinner since what was the Real Housewives of Potomac, the Salahis. Remember when they crashed the state dinner?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that whole thing?
About that.
And
yes.
now we've got Jeff and his double dipping Bezos there.
It's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. That is. We'll put the picture out there, of course. Further taking the high road, we'll let you see it on social media.
I wonder if
we're
she
not the
loads
only
the
ones.
dishes, or does Jeff does
I don't think he worries about how she loads the dishwasher.
Maybe with the dress. That's a lot going on there.
It's 7. She has one job, and she fulfilled it last night. It's 7:54.